Hello everyone, it's starting to get chilly in Italy, so my construction work slash road maintenance coat is back, and today I'm gonna start working on the bench for the van. On this van conversion I'm only gonna fit 3 pieces of furniture, which are the bench, the extending bed and the kitchen, which is really all I need. And the bench serves mainly to cover the bay area as a storage space, and also as the bed is an L shaped, one side of the bed is going to be extendable and this is going to be the fixed side of the bed. Before we start working on the bench though, I wanted to talk to you about the wood that I chose to work with for the bench and for the kitchen, because this thing, it's amazing and I didn't know it existed until a few months ago. This is called Paulownia wood, and this is a super light but super strong wood. It's half the weight of pine, 1/3 of the weight of oak, which is obviously important because you want to reduce as much as possible the amount of weight that you're adding to your van. But it's also the wood that has the highest weight to strength ratio of all wood in the world, and it also has double the combustion temperature of most soft and hardwood. One thing that they do mention is that it is fairly brittle and it does scratch easily, so that's one thing to consider if you want to use it in the van. But yeah, that's that for my fangirling of the Paulownia wood. Now let's put it to the test and make a nice bench. I'm done with the structure. It looks nice and sturdy. So now I'm gonna cut the sides and the top's gonna go here. The top is actually gonna pull up, so I'll need to add some hinges on the back. But yeah, looking good so far. I only have the jigsaw to make this long rip cut, so I put 2 guides on the piece of wood just to make sure that I'm gonna cut as straight as possible line. Wish me luck. Time to put the hinges for the top lead. I'm gonna put 4 of those medium-sized hinges, 2 on the sides, and then I need to go and get another 2 for the center so that it's nice and sturdy. I love this little bench. I was afraid it would be a little bit too low, but then I'm gonna be adding a mat that's about 10 to 12 centimeters, so I think it's gonna be just perfect. The edges are obviously not perfect, but that's not a big problem because I was planning of adding a little trim on the lid, so that's gonna look nice. The bench is nice and varnished. Now I'm gonna add some backing with a piece of plywood that I had laying around, and then I'm just gonna attach it to the floor, and then this part of the furniture will be done. Now that the bench is finished, I need to attach it to the floor, and to do that I'm not gonna use normal screws because I want the whole conversion to be removable. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add those nuts to the floor, and then to attach the furniture I'm gonna use those butterfly bolts that are removable by hand. This is so in any occasion I can remove all the furniture without any need of a screwdriver, and it's just a fast and easy way to add everything and remove it. There you go, the bench is nice and fixed, and I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere. those things are really cool. I would say you need to be super precise on where you place them on the floor and where you add the hole on the furniture, because otherwise they won't align and they won't screw in. Hello everyone, today I'm gonna start working on the extending bed. I really hope that it's gonna be a fairly easy job because I know what I need to do. I have it all in my head and it's just about building it. I am actually leaving in 2 weeks, so I really need to get this van finished by then, so wish me good luck. So my idea for this van is to have an extending bed that just fills the whole porter so that 2 people can sleep in comfortably. And to do that, I'm gonna make a bench on the side, and then at night the kitchen is gonna lower, if I can manage to figure that out, and then the bed is gonna fill in the whole floor. So the bench on the side, when it's closed, needs to be at least half the size of the floor, which gets up to here. I did mark it. So it's here. So it is really wide and there's not going to be a lot of space to move from the bench and the kitchen area, but that is the only solution that I could think of. The frame of the bed is ready. It took me quite a while to get the measurements right, but now we should be good to put the slats. So I'm gonna show you how the system works without the slats, just to give you an idea of how it's made. The measurements are kind of irrelevant because I doubt that any of you is converting a Piaggio Porter, but the method is the same no matter how big is the bed. So you have one fixed frame. This frame doesn't go anywhere, and this is the bench side, and then in front you have this frame that extends, that moves. And right now it's not attached to anything, it's just moving around because I still need to attach the slats. So the slats that are fixed onto the frame of the bench, and the slats that move and extend are fixed onto the front frame and on this piece of wood that makes that is like a slider, so it goes like this. And I've added 2 pieces of wood. I just screwed it on the bottom just so I could have a rail for this to move. It's a really simple concept once you understand how it works. So now let's go and cut the slats. Well, I didn't do my calculations right. I think I'm missing at least 4 slats. So tomorrow I'm gonna go and get all the wood that I need, but for now I'm just gonna start from there and attach the ones that I have. And yes, 2 things when you're doing this: you will want to leave a little space in between the slats. So I'm gonna be using a piece of cladding just to get the correct spacing. And then when you're attaching the slats onto the moving frame, you will be attaching them on this front part and on the sliding bit. On the sliding bit, add a washer under the slats, and then you can screw it in. This will make sure that when you're sliding the bed, it slides nicely and it doesn't jam. So you're adding just a tiny bit of thickness so that the system doesn't jam, basically. The bed is finished. Now it's time to see if it actually works. Ta-da! I'm so happy with how this bed turned out. It is a tiny bit shorter than the wall, but that's fine. I'm gonna anyway cover this part with the mat, so it's not a big problem. I couldn't have done the bench any larger. It's already very large, so I think this is the maximum that I could have done. And it's about 140 wide and 180 long centimeters. And as you can see, when you open the bed, when you extend it, then you have the fixed slats in the bench that stay still, and then the ones on the extending frame that go forward. And this piece on the back is what it keeps it from wiggling around, and it's also the piece that slides. Whoop! I left just a tiny bit of leeway just here for the bench seat to open. This is how the bed is looking from underneath. As you can see, I had to work around the wheel box over there, the battery box and the lead. Okie dokes, the bed is varnished, so now we just need to fix it in place by using the same method that I used for the bench, which is using those nuts and those winged bolts. I had this piece of foam lying inside the house, and it's exactly the right measurements of the bench. It's 180 by 60 or 65 centimeters. Initially I thought I would get the cushions done, but I just struggled wrapping my head around on what the best way it is to cut them and to fit them, because initially I thought I would use 10 to 12 centimeters foam, but this is 15 centimeters and it's just huge, and you have to consider that I have to carry 2 of those because the bed extends in double. So I don't think that 12 centimeters is feasible, and instead what I'm gonna try and do, I'm gonna cut this one in 2 lengthwise, so I will have a 7 centimeters mat, which isn't a lot, but I'm thinking eventually if it's really uncomfortable I can glue a 2 centimeter foam topper on top, and this way I don't have to buy any foam. I already have it here because I'm leaving in 2 weeks and I don't know if I would get here in time anyway, so I think this is what I'm gonna attempt doing. The problem with cutting the thickness of the foam is that it's really hard to get an even straight cut, and so I looked online on what the best ways are, and I saw people building contraptions with a hot wire so that you can kind of melt the foam and get a super straight cut, but honestly I cannot be bothered to build that thing that I'm gonna use only once, so I'm just gonna go with the old-fashioned method of using a cutter, and that is pretty much it. I'm gonna mark the thickness that I needed, cut through it, and if it's not super even, as I said, I'm probably gonna be adding a little layer of memory foam on top, so hopefully that should even things out. So yeah, let's just do it. The 4 pieces of foam are cut. It took a little while, but honestly I'm not too mad with the result. It's not the cleanest cut obviously, but I was able to be fairly consistent with the thickness, and those are gonna be upholstered so nobody's gonna see. I'm gonna see how it looks in the van, and then I'm gonna decide whether or not I want to cut them again in half here. I'm gonna explain why in a second. I'm gonna have 2 pieces of foam on the bench when it's closed, but then I have 2 extra ones that I need to figure out what to do with. So my idea was to just use them as a backrest, but as you can see they are quite large, so if I didn't cut them, that's how big the backrest would be. That's too big, so my idea was to perhaps cut them in 2 lengthwise so that I would make a shorter backrest for this length, and also I would make a backrest for that side over there. Here's how I decided to cut the cushions. There's 2 bigger ones here and then lots of smaller ones all around, and I know it looks very cluttered and not that pretty right now, but once they are upholstered everything's gonna look nicer, and I'm thinking that if there's a few too many cushions I can always just put them inside the bench. I am a week away from leaving and I'm so stressed because I have so many things that I still need to do. I don't know if I can get it all done today. I'm gonna finish making the cushions for, well, the covers for the cushions. I actually already started a few days ago. I'm gonna show you the ones I have, but the fabric I chose is this one. I think it's super pretty, and it's not normal fabric. I went to a lot of fabric shops and I couldn't find anything that would work for me, and at the end I just bought it at a normal household kind of shop. It's actually a tablecloth, and it's cotton, but it has like a stain kind of thing on top, so it should be easier to clean. It's not as soft, but again, you will want something that's easy to clean in the van. You can make it with like fake leather seats as well, but that's kind of hard to work with the sewing machine. I'll show you the cushions that I already made. So I have 5 cushions, 2 are big and then 3 are small, and it really is a puzzle, that van. But this is the kind of cushion that I'm making. It has a zipper on the side so you can access the foam easily if you want to clean it. And I realized afterwards that it would have been smarter for the long cushions to make the zipper on the long side, but I had already cut the material. So if you are doing that, then buy a little bit more of length of zip so you can put it on the long side instead of the short side, so that you're gonna struggle less. And also I got this it's like a filling kind of fabric that you put on top of the foam, because at the end I decided not to take the memory foam and any foam really, because it was just expensive. It wouldn't have gotten here in time, it would have made it too thick. So I just thought I'm gonna put this on top just to make the surface a little bit more even. This is what they use for like sofas, couches. So yeah, I'm gonna add this in and then I'm gonna finish the cushions and then we're gonna see how they look in the van. I am so excited. Welcome cushions! Look at this! I love it. I love how it looks with the wood. That cushion over there is a little bit of a rebel. It's a bit bigger because I didn't consider that if I was to put this piece of foam on the back of this piece of foam, then I would have about 10 centimeters extra, which is exactly what I have there. I could solve that problem by just putting this on top, but I don't like it as much how it looks, so I'm gonna keep it that way. And honestly, I could even do without those cushions. I could remove them if I wanted and just put them on in the bench. Let's see how that looks. Well, that's not bad either. Depends if it's more than one person staying in here or 2 people, because then it would be nice to have a cushion over there. But let's see how this looks when it's on the bed format. It's a bummer. I realized that those cushions, those 2 cushions, are just too big. Can you see how big they are? I guess I didn't consider the thickness of the fabric and of that extra padding that I put. The correct size is actually this one, a bit narrower, and this fits perfectly. Look at that. That's perfect. I spent all of yesterday night redoing all the cushions and now it should fit. Let's try it. I had dirty shoes. It's definitely not a double bed, but it should be comfortable enough for 2 people to sleep. Now I just need to sort out the kitchen. So that is the next thing to tackle. I shall see you in the next video. Bye!